Welcome to Tai Chi. Everybody ready? Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Waist exercise. Stretch out those arms. Don't use them as leverage. Keep them stretched up high. 3, 4, 5. Turn the hips and waist. 6. Look at the heel of your opposite foot. 8, 9, 10. Airplane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Be careful. Shift your weight. Kick your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shift your weight. 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman, opening up your span, parallel feet, choose one side, cross and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shift your weight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Short 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good Tai Chi posture for good golden cockerel, okay? Grow a little taller, however it takes in your Tai Chi posture, opening up your span, dropping those shoulders, tucking your butt, hollowing out your chest, chin down, head erect, thinking of something very positive and uplifting, tongue on your palate, head straight up. Here we go. Shift your weight up and out. Last set. Kicking out. Shift weight, center, counterbalance. Shift weight, out. Last set. Holding our ball on a T stance, root down on the back or right foot. Look at the size of your ball, check your Tai Chi posture, store that energy, out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane. Here it is. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, hold your ball, root down, out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane, stretch. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, firm down, center your ball, out on an L, move that ball. Here it is. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Hold your ball in a T, out and to the side, ward off. Turn the hips and waist. Then grasp the bird's tail. Sit down, sit back, look back, turn, contact, push in the middle of your body to separate and roll back. And spiral forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot. Left hand on the bottom, holding your ball. You're going to take an L stance and push your opponent away. Turn your hips and waist will allow you then to reposition your hands to grasp the bird's tail. Look back, turn, square contact, push in the middle of your body to separate, roll back, and uncoil that energy to push forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot. Hold your ball in a T stance. You're going to grasp the bird's tail first, warding off. Turn your hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Sit down, sit back. Hands go for the ride. Contact, push in the middle of your body to separate. Roll back all the way back. Store that energy. Then dispense that energy. Sit down, sit back, parallel and higher. Out on an L, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T. We're going to multitask by turning our hips and waist to brush our knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher. ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Remember the term, turn your hips and waist. Hold your ball on a T stance, out and to the side, turn your hips and waist, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot, hold your ball on a T, out on an L, turn the hips and waist, part the wild horse's mane. Flip that hand and join it, then sit back, turn hips and waist, 12 o'clock, turn hips and waist, 9 o'clock, flip knee, close your stance. Middle, turn hips and waist, 3 o'clock, open. Middle, turn hips and waist, 9 o'clock, turn hips and waist, 12 o'clock, turn to the 3 o'clock, flip knee, close your stance. Middle, 9 o'clock, turn hips and waist, middle. Turn hips and waist, shift your weight up, golden cockerel. Putting it all together, hands go for the ride. Turn hips and waist, remember that phrase, and remember how to do it. Sink. Expend the energy by pushing forward. Sit back, sink. Hold the ball, sink. L, push them away. Turn hips and waist. Grasp the bird's tail. Turn hips and waist contact, push out that energy. Roll back and sink and sit down. Spiral forward. Twist. Turn hips and waist. Turn hips and waist. Cross hands. Push. Make yourself small, sink, flex your knees. Close your form. Okay, so obviously we are looking at least one element for Tai Chi principles, which is turning hips and waist. So show me how you turn your hips and waist. So everybody know how to turn your hips and waist? Everybody know when to do it when we do Tai Chi? So part of turning your hips and waist, if you get it down really well, your hands go for the ride. My hands are set here, but once I start turning my hips and waist, my hands move with my turning of my hips and waist. And not just for cloud hands, but all of the movements. Another obvious element that I try to reinforce as we were going through our warm-ups is, besides turning hips and waist, is to sink. So standing where you are, show me how you can sink. How do you sink? Everybody needs to show me how you sink. Okay, so yes, very good. So when you sink, you drop your shoulders, you flex your knees, and your feet feel very heavy because they're bearing all your weight because you're dropping to a lower stance, okay? That's the sinking feeling. So if you know clearly how this feeling feels, then when you do Tai Chi, that's something you have to incorporate. So two things, turning hips and waist, being able to sink, okay? So part of sinking is to make yourselves small. So right away we're going to make ourselves small. Our hands now then go for the ride. It's being powered by the sinking feeling. It's not coming down like this. It's up here. Everybody do it, everybody do it. It's up here and we are sinking. by flexing and coming down. Okay? So very good. So you capitalize on what we just did, what we just felt, and when we do our Tai Chi, we're kind of multitasking because we're not only looking for the sequence of the 24, we're looking at the form, but we're also looking at this important element, these two important elements of sinking and turning your hips and waist. Oftentimes, we only feel that it's a hand motion, so we're not using this. But we already warmed up. We spent 10, 15 minutes warming up. So let's incorporate what we use or have warmed up, okay? All right. So now with this in mind, we're going to do the 24, okay? And with the 24, of course, everybody's looking for sequence, especially for the newcomers, okay? The ones who just moved up. But we're also looking at principles. The principles to me are more important, okay? Because you can apply the principles across the board for all kinds of Tai Chi, not just Yang style, okay? So you want to move back, get in a good position, and we're doing Yang 24, good Tai Chi posture, this time with lots of instructions, and slowly we're going to use less instructions. And we're going to see how far we can move along in many sets of the 24. Here we go. Good Tai Chi posture, grow a little taller, commencing form. 50-50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 off the ground, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Rotate. Take a deep breath in as we elevate, making ourselves big. Now dropping ourselves to sink to make ourselves small. Centering with a T and a ball. Out and to the side on an L, move that ball. Part the wild horse's mane. Stretch. Sit back, sit down. Pivot out. Hold your ball for better balance. Out on an L, move that ball. Part the wild horse's mane, 2. Sit back, sit down, that's a sink. Pivot out, hold your ball, turn your hips and waist. Part the wild horse's mane, 3. Half step forward, hold your ball. Spin the ball to the right. Look at the right hand that's going up while the left foot comes up and points on its toe. White crane spreads its wings. As you bisect or cut your body in half, you're sinking. You're looking back at your right hand that's higher. You're going to multitask. Ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, sink. Turn hips and waist out. Parallel higher. Look at the back hand. Turn hips and waist. Brush knee 2. Sit back, sit down, sink. Pivot out, turn hips and waist, look at the backhand, turn hips and waist, brush knee, final. Half step forward, sit back, sink, spin your ball, rock your front foot to its toe, set it on its heel, playing your lute. Drop your front foot, center your front hand, look at the back hand that's higher, weight on the back, lift up, ear, toe, heel, pivot to the middle, repulse of the monkey 1. Center, higher, look, lift, ear, toe, heel, pivot to the center, repulse of the monkey 2. Center, higher, glance, lift, ear, toe, heel, pivot, repulse 3. Last one, don't forget to modify. Center, lift, ear, modify that foot, meet in the middle, push forward, push back. Hold your ball on a T stance, sink, storing that energy. We're going to ward off. Out on an L, move that ball, push your opponent away. Turn your hips and waist. Position your hands. How do your hands come back? Do they just come back on their own? They're powered by the energy stored on the back foot. Contact. How do they come back again? Powered by making yourself small, then growing a little bigger. Sit back, sit down, pivot, firm down or sink, holding your ball. Out on an L, push them away, give me my space. Turn your hips and waist, Reposition, how do the hands come down? Only with the power of the energy moving to the back. Contact, middle, push. Roll back, store that energy, and dispense it. Sit back, sit down, pivot, cup. Use your hips and waist to get out to 9 o'clock. Come back to the 12 on a T. Hook, look, out on an L. Push out, single whip. Sit back, sit down, pivot, cup. Use your hips and waist. Cloud hands. Middle. Two things happen. Turn your hips and waist. Flip the hands, close the feet. Middle. Turn hips and waist, 3 o'clock. Two things happen. Middle. 10, 9, two things happen besides turning hips and waist. One more rotation. Open. Turn hips and waist. Middle. Turn hips and waist. Two things happen. Middle. Look at the hook hand. Step out on an L. Face it forward, your palm. Half step forward. Sit back, sink. Up with your left foot on its toe. Pat the mane of the horse. Cross at your wrist. Step out on an L stance on the heel. Gather energy. Step out. Push out, kick out, extend the knee, look through your double punch. Sit back, sit down, sink, pivot, twist around, left hand outside, left foot coming up, kick out, in, hook, toe down in line, sink, pivot to your left, set, up, shift weight, golden cockerel. Toe, spin, hook, split, sink, middle, veer to the right, set, up, golden cockerel. Extend the knee on an L stance, heel. Hold your ball. Out with your heel, up with the right hand, shuttles on her right. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, turn hips and waist, out with your heel, turn hips and waist, shuttle left. Half step to the back, set up your right hand, you're going down to the bottom of the C by flexing the back knee. One hand, join it with the other hand, then your foot, touch, start in the middle, expend the energy by stretching. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, up on your toe, deflect, turn the hips and waist, come in and out to parry and punch. Touch, open your fingers, sit back and sink, spiral forward by expending that energy. Sit back, sit down, pivot, turn hips and waist, pivot out, turn hips and waist in, tuck the right hand, cross hands, rotate, palms facing, push out. And what are you going to do? Make yourself small, hands go for the ride. Gravity takes care of it as you close your form. Okay, so now I'm thinking that you're probably thinking, wow, I don't know all these movements and we're going through them in 6 or 7 minutes. But I realize that you don't, okay? And I realize that some do, some don't, some need cleaning up, and it varies, okay? But part of learning Tai Chi is to take the whole, and then we started taking parts and movements, and then it got kind of hard to take one movement away, so we did groups, and now we're at a point where we want to string them along, but we also want to make sure that we can incorporate some of the principles. So this is where we're at now, okay? And slowly but surely, over months, over a period of time, it will click in, okay? So initially, all of us feel that to learn something successfully is to learn all the sequence and all the movements. But I think we have to kind of set that and put it in the back of our mind and say, yeah, sequence is important, but something always can be learned along with it. And so this is where we're at. We're learning something along with the sequence, okay? And it's okay to kind of, I want to use the word gloss over for now, things you don't know. But I realize, how much teaching of that particular movement I've given you. So take it from there. But we will revisit. I'm positive, but I'm not sure when, okay? All right. So this time when we do it, we're going to, I'm going to instruct in a different way, okay? So I'm going to try to remove some of the details to give you a better feel of what the Yang 24 movement is all about, okay? All right. So far, everybody doing very well. Don't worry about, not knowing. That's not our journey right now, okay? Good Tai Chi posture, Yang 24. Commencing form. Deep breath. Reverse. Hold your ball. Out, part the wild horse's mane. 1. 2. Okay, go slowly. And 3. Half step. Spin up, look, and point. White crane spreads its wings. Bisect. Multitask. Brush knee 1. Multitask. Brush knee 2. And 3. Half step. Sit back. Rock. Play your lute. Center. Look. Lift. Repulse 1. Lift. Repulse 2. Lift. Repulse 3. Lift. Modify. Repulse. Final. Hold your ball on T-stance. No rushing. Out on an L. Push them away. Turn your hips and waist before you reposition to sit down, sit back. Sink. Contact, but only push at the center of your body. Roll back and coil up. And then spiral forward. Hands go for the ride. Sit back. Twist. Sink. Out. Push. Turn hips and waist. Reposition hands. Use your energy to power down your hands. Turn, contact, push. Make yourself small, sink. Then spiral forward. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, turn hips and waist, cup. Turn hips and waist. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet to a T, look back, hook. Out and to the side, L, push out, single whip. Sit back, sit down, pivot, cup, Turn hips and waists, cloud hands. Turn hips and waists, two things happen. Turn hips and waists, two things happen. Turn hips and waists, two things happen. Hook, T, out, L, second single whip. Half step, sit back. Up with the left foot, high pad on the horse. Cross at the wrist, step out with your left heel. Open up like an ellipse. Right hand on the outside, kick out right. In. Extend the knee, down on your heel, punch them in the ears. Sit back, sit down, pivot all the way. Left hand, left foot up and out. And in and hook and down. Sink halfway, veer to the left, set, stretch out, shift weight up. Toe, spin, hook, split, down halfway. Allows us to veer to the right, stretch out, shift weight up, golden cockerel. Extend the knee, L stance, hold the ball. L stance, turn hips and waists, shuttle right. Sit back, sit down. Pivot out, hold your ball. L stance, heel out, turn hips and waists, shuttle left. Half step to the back, set up your right hand, down to the bottom of the seat by flexing the back knee. Up one hand, join it with the other hand, lift up the left foot, start in the middle, flash arms like a fan. Rock, pivot. On your toe, pivot out to the right, turn hips and waists, turn hips and waists back, parry and punch. Touch, roll back, coil up, push forward, sit back, twist, 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 off the ground. Cross hands for better balance, up, rotate, push, and sink. Okay, now I think you're getting the hang of it. Going for the next one, which is only the movements, okay? And I must caution you, especially people on the left where I see you, don't go faster than you need to, okay? Go slower. Just tell yourselves to go slower. Okay? Here we go. Commencing form. You're going to have to do more observing, okay? Because I'm not going to be talking that much. Part the wild horse's mane. 1. 2, and 3. White crane spreads its wings, point, bisect, multitask by brushing your knee, 1. And 2. And final 3. Half step, rock, play your lute on your heel. Drop, center, higher, up, repulse, 1. Center, glance, lift, repulse, 2. Center, higher, lift, repulse, 3. Center, lift, up. Final repulse of the monkey. Hold your ball in a T-stance. Ward off. Turn hips and waist. Other side. Turn hips and waist. Turn hips and waist. Hook. L stance, single whip. Sit back, turn hips and waist, cloud hands. The final one. Turn hips and waist, hook, T, L, out, second single whip, half step, sit back, high pat on the horse. Step out with your left heel, gather energy up, right foot, right hand, kick out. Double punch. Sit back, sit down. Pivot all the way around, left hand, left foot up, and out. And hook, split, sink, halfway, serpent in the grass. And shift weight, golden cockerel. Toe, spin, hook, split, down, sink, veer to the right, serpent in the grass, shift weight, golden cockerel. Out heel, maiden shuttles on her right. And shifts her weight to shuttle on her left. Half step to the back, sit up the right hand higher, bend the back knee to lower yourself up. Join out. Power of your core. Moving that hand to flash arms. Sit back, sit down. Toe, pivot, fist, out. Parry. Or deflect, parry and punch. Touch. And everybody should remember how to close. Do it correctly. Pivot, pivot, pivot in, shift your weight, tuck your right hand in, rotate already, chest level, palms facing, push out. And show me that your hands know how to go for the ride. Gravity takes care of the rest as you close your form. Okay, how was that? That's 40 minutes, pretty good. So we're looking for not only good form, we're looking for more muscle strength, we're looking for endurance, we're looking for everything that Tai Chi can give us, okay? But not forcing the issue, but just let it kind of smolder and grow with us as we learn and on our own journey, okay? All right. So I'm going to look at a movement now. It's called high pat on the horse. How do you do high pat on the horse? Okay, and what are you doing? So part of Tai Chi taxes or challenges the mind. So if our mind is active and plays into our Tai Chi movements, we are constantly thinking about how the movements, in what sequence they come and how they are formed. And then taking note of all the little muscles that we're using. We're being aware of what we're using or needing to make that movement the best way we know how. So the mind is always active. It's never gone to sleep. However, it can relax, but still active, okay? So when we pat the horse, we have done cloud hands, and we're going into the second single whip. Because as you recall, to get into cloud hands, we have a single whip. To get out of cloud hands, we have a single whip. Single whip. Okay? So when we pat our horse, so this is our single whip, okay? And we'll go over everything after you see the whole thing. You take a half step forward. That means you're going to have to lift up that back foot, and you're going to have to sit back. Most people sit back like this. So this is a hand motion. Hand motion synchronized with sitting back. But to do it even better, you would have a nice single whip. My knee is not beyond my toe. My back knee is not locked, neither is it dipping down. Once it dips down, you notice that I shift my posture. So I'm going to have really good posture here, okay? Half step forward means this. You shift your weight to the front foot. You take it on your toe. You come back how? By sitting back. When you sit back, your body allows you to open up, and my toe naturally, my foot or my toe naturally comes above because it's weightless. I'm putting all my weight on the back. As I come to the back, I take advantage of that weight on the back by coming forward and going up the horse's mane, patting the horse's mane. The horse's head is here, his mane is here. I'm going up his mane. Cross at my wrist. So now you notice the palms are opposite, okay? Usually the palm that's near to you is the one that's showing you the palm, just like in cloud hands. The one away is the one furthest from your body. At this point, my weight is on the back. I shift my weight. How? I'm going to come down. And when I come down, I don't want to stay forward on the horse's mane. I pat my horse, I come down, I come out, cross, I come out. And do you see that this is an ellipse that I'm making? I shift my weight, I come up, right hand, right foot, kick out. In, down, away from that back foot on a L stance. Look through my double punch, punching the opponent's ears rather than way out here. Coming back, my hands just don't come back, but they come back only because I'm sitting back. Turning fully, shifting my weight. As I come up, my hands form, left hand, left foot out, and then this way, okay? So let's start with, let's see, how shall we do it? Coming forward on a single whip, okay? Left foot on a line, right foot on the other line, opposite it. Drag the right foot back, 45, the back foot. Get a good span. You don't want it too far. You don't want it too close. We're at a single whip. Left hand can go slightly beyond your toes. You're straight up. You're in good Tai Chi posture. Listen to what I'm saying and do what I say. You hook the back hand where the four fingers are around the thumb. You put it across from you. But that's not where we want it. Everybody has it across. We want it slightly back. Not slightly this way, because why? It throws my Tai Chi posture out and I'm twisting my hips. So we say single whip is formed by going across and slightly back. Not too much back, all right? half step forward on your toe. Sit back allows you to what? Open up, lift on your toe, up, down, pat your horse. One more time, okay? Each time we do it, try to get a different element or try to perfect whatever you have. Single whip, half step, sit back, lift, pat, cross, out with your left heel. Angle that, right foot, right hand, kick out. Going through it all, away from the back foot on your heel, punch them in the ears. Sit back, sit down, not a hand motion, pivot to the courtyard. Left foot, left hand up, and out, and in, hook, down. Okay? So we got to make sure that we know everything up to that point before we can do serpent in the grass, okay? Was that hard? Not too hard if you're following, right? Then just go back and review it. But the main thing I want to impress upon you is that the hands just don't come down like this. The hands do, but only because I'm sitting back. And as I sit back and I'm fully stable there, the front foot comes up. So to do it out of sync, I would do something like this. So to do it correctly, I try to get in everything working in a synchronized way. Okay, and someone asked, Mary asked the last time about veering or zigzagging. This is one of the zigzags. And maiden works her shuttle is another zigzag, okay? And you see that this is all part of it. It's gathering my energy. I need to come up, so I'm going to consolidate, bring my energy to the center, come up the same time, and then kick out. And then this is what I mean by an L stance on your heel. You don't want to come here because you won't have what? Room to turn. And we already learned that basic thin 10 form. So you're going to come, what do I do? Come out. This tucks here rather than like this. Tucks here. You know you're going to see your opponent in the front of you. You're going to punch him in the ears. Okay, and all of Tai Chi, unlike Luk Tonggen, the fingers are on the outside. The thumb is on the outside rather than inside okay? So you come here, and my fist now is not gripped. It's just a formation there, okay? Formation there, size of his head, 2 ears punching him in. When I sit back, the same thing happens. My hands come back only because what? I'm drawing back by sitting back. Energy stored. Why? I'm going to have to turn all the way around. Energy stored on the back foot now, coming up, helping me to come out and power out. Okay? So just watching, you understand it, but to use all the elements, you're going to have to practice. And sure, you're not going to get it right 100%. I don't have it right by no means 80%. But the more you do it, the better you're going to feel the shifting of the weight. And over time, your muscle strength will get better. So a common thing about Tai Chi is that when we first learn something new, we go a little faster. Why? It's not because our mind is racing. It may be to some extent, but it's because we cannot hold our stance as long. And so if you take an elderly person, maybe that's, the reason there. But that's their Tai Chi. But over time, you will see that you'll have stronger muscles, better toning, and then you have that endurance that will stretch out your movements a little bit more.
I think I mentioned to this group the 10 essentials of Tai Chi which was first put out by Yang Cheng Fu, or some people call him Yang Ching Pu, but he was the last of the major Yang masters that are not contemporary. At least he knew the originator of the Yang Tai Chi form, in that was his grandfather, and he knew him personally. But he put out a bunch of points to consider in the 10 essentials of Tai Chi. And it's not the only summary of Tai Chi essentials. Other masters have put out different forms. May not have been 10, could have been 8, could have been less than that or more than that. But it's something which you can look at it online, and it's something which you should consider looking over and even maybe putting it back in your file, because as Yang put it, it doesn't matter so much the form of Tai Chi, Yang, Chen, Wu, the Sun, whatever, so much as using essential or remembering the essentials of doing Tai Chi. And in his particular 10, there are things that you should consider, and it's something would be ideal if you could consider them all at one time, but that's not so easy. I think the better thing is to sometimes try to dwell on it or think about as many of them as you can while you're doing it. Or there may be other times where you say, I'm only going to take one aspect and see how throughout my routine, whatever it is, do I follow it. And a couple of things that I want to talk about is one that Lucille mentioned about making yourself small. And that's his concept of making sure that you droop the elbows and you droop the shoulders. It's present throughout the 24 and the other forms that we teach. Making yourself small. Commencing form, you're coming up this way, but you're not doing this, see? You're pushing here and you're up. Making yourself small is dropping the elbows, dropping the shoulders. It allows you to use the core muscles of your back and shoulder girdle to apply more force. And in our case, exercise the core muscles. And it's present in so many things. Lucille talked about the kicking out or high pat on the horse. If you're from here, you step forward. This is just not flapping your hands. It's the shoulder and the elbows drop. And then when you're going to be coming this way, the power is now, you've accumulated the power in your core muscles. This is coming up. It's going to do this. You're pushing it up this way, but then when it comes down, it's coming down. It's not just pushing this way, it's coming down. And you're going to deliver a blow to the person, but to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, you're not just slapping him on the face. You're coil and discharge, okay? At the same time, this side is coming down, it's coiling up, discharge. Okay, so throughout, you can look through all the movements you did, and you say, geez, where do you think dropping the elbows, dropping the shoulders may be beneficial in terms of performing the actual martial art versus performing it so that I will pay attention to building those muscles and the coordination of the structures there. A second thing, besides making it small, another point that Yang Chengpu put out was to make sure that you distinguish substantial from insubstantial. And that's why we try to go slower. But as Lucille had said, there are limitations. Sometimes you try to be substantial, but you just can't hold it. If you just do not have the strength. Substantial means if I stay here, this foot can do anything and move at my intention. My mind tells me this is the time to move it. But if you're not strong enough, you try to do this. Oh, I've got to get down because I have to be able to stand on 2 feet. I just don't have the strength to be able to do whatever I want to do. Okay? And going slow helps you to concentrate. If you don't have the strength, at least mentally, you are saying, I am supposed to hold it in this position until I can put my foot down wherever I want to do it. And this is insubstantial as opposed to, so the rule is substantial does not move, insubstantial can move any place I want to do it. Okay? Once it becomes substantial, it assumes stability. Then I can do this, do that, or whatever, come up. Okay? So when you do your Tai Chi, try to think about that. And I realized when you first start, the limitations are, you say, substantial, yes, but the substantial may be only an instant that you can hold it, that this leg is substantial, and you have to cover. But sometimes when you're going slowly, hopefully what you can do, have substantial, and then put it down gently. That's part of trying to develop your control when you do Tai Chi. Otherwise, it just comes plonk, and you're on to the next, okay? So, victory. So, you're on your way, and I get to watch most of the time. You're doing fine. Okay, good.